Hinduism is not just a religion, but a way of life. Hindus believe in reincarnation and that the deeds done in this life directly affect the progress in further rebirths. Most Hindus are religious and participate in various rituals throughout their lives, from birth to death. In the northeast of Kathmandu is one of the four most famous Hindu temples dedicated to the god Shiva, Pashupatinath. The Pashupatinath temple complex is located on both sides of the Bagmati River. Local legend claims that Shiva once spent the whole night here, meditating on the banks of the river. On the banks of the Bagmati, directly at the foot of the temple, there are two stone platforms, ghats, intended for cremation only of members of the royal family and the families of prime ministers. There are separate public ghats. Not far away sit wandering sadhus, smeared, like Shiva, with the ashes of funeral pyres. Due to the exceptional holiness of the temple, cremation at Pashupatinath has a special meaning for believers. And many sick elderly people specially come here and live in anticipation of death in the hospices at the temple. They say that even Mother Teresa rented a house in the Pashupatinath area for a long time in order to die here in case of illness. For cremation, just like in the Western world, you must first prepare all the necessary documents. In Hinduism, the body is cremated within 24 hours of death. The chief mourner is always the first son of the deceased. His body is completely shaved, and he performs many rituals on the dead body. Pashupati is the hypostasis of Shiva in the form of the master of beasts. To die on the ghats at the Pashupatinath temple means to be reborn again in the form of a man, avoiding rebirth in the bodies of 1,000,000 animals. Firewood is brought in, which the older sons then set on fire with sandalwood chips. The Hindu funeral ritual is very complex. There are many requirements and prohibitions for the relatives of the deceased. It is believed that if family members follow all the rules, then the deceased person will receive a worthy place in heaven. Cremations at Pashupatinath are not the same as in the Western world where it is a private ceremony. Here the action takes place in front of everyone. Entrance to the temple itself is strictly prohibited for foreigners, but it is quite possible to see religious ceremonies near its walls. Usually, the body is dipped into the river 3 times before burning, but in this case, the relatives simply wipe her face with water from Bagmati. The body is sprinkled with incense and decorated with flowers. After cremation, family members of the deceased do not speak or meet with anyone, do not even touch each other. During mourning, you cannot wear leather shoes, belts and anything made of leather, as the skin at this time is considered unclean. Chips of sandalwood and straw, which cover the body, are pre-moistened in the sacred river. Unbeknownst to the rest, relatives must undress the deceased under the covers, throwing clothes into Bagmati. The last preparations, and the eldest son will light the fire with a sandalwood chip. After several hours of burning, relatives wash away the ashes in Bagmati. Only after the 11th day, the ritual of absolution, family members will be allowed to return to normal life, eat salt, vegetables, etc., but, depending on their will. Some continue to wear white clothes until the ritual of the 45th day, 6 months, or even the year when the entire mourning ritual ends. On this day, after the completion of all the rituals, it is customary to gather with the whole family, with relatives and friends at one large table and remember the deceased.